was happily married to the man who I had longed for and loved so much. Then one day, a gift arrived from my mother-in-law. Excitedly, I opened it, only to find a different kind of surprise waiting for me. As a result of this, our relationship, which had been secret until now, took a turn for the worst. I won't let myself be defeated by something like this. I will never let the other person have their way. My name is Sophia. My husband Oliver and I just got married 6 months ago, and we are newlyweds, so to speak. From now on, I'm going to create lots of happy memories with the one I love. Just as I had been thinking that, I had no way of knowing what would happen next. At that time, I was still unaware. The beginning of this incident occurred about a month after getting married. I had become a housewife and was cleaning the room when the intercom rang, and a package had arrived for me. When I looked at the sender, it was from my mother-in-law. From my mother-in-law? I wondered what it could be. I hadn't received any notification about a package being sent, and my husband hadn't mentioned anything either. Curious, I opened the cardboard box. Inside, there were a multitude of worn-out clothes that could hardly be described as stylish. What's this? Second-hand clothes? I was left speechless by the numerous non-new clothes. There were even some with holes here and there. It seemed like they were all in garish, neon colors that must have been in fashion a decade ago. Just then, my mother-in-law called at just the right time. "Oh, Sophia, did a present arrive?" "A present? No. Where on earth is that a present? No matter how you look at it, it's clearly second-hand, and the sense of style is terrible. How in the world could you consider that a gift?" Perplexed by the unexpected situation, my mother-in-law began explaining calmly. "You see, those clothes are things I used to wear a long time ago. I haven't sorted out my closet in a while and found a lot of things." But Claire, some of them have holes or something." "Don't worry. I made sure to include my recent purchases at the store. Please try it on." My mother-in-law continued talking with enthusiasm, ignoring my confusion. Was it harassment? Or was it really just an act of kindness? Honestly, I couldn't quite grasp my mother-in-law's true intention. As soon as my husband returned from work, he noticed a mountain of old clothes.
"Did you receive clothes from Mom? That's nice."
"Well, it's more like she sent them. However, if this was really an act of kindness from my mother-in-law, I didn't want to make her feel bad, so I kept quiet about the holes and the lack of style." 1 month later, I received another package from my mother-in-law. As expected, it was filled with nothing but old clothes. The quantity was even greater than the previous time, and the designs were intentionally worse than before. Ugh, who can wear these? I feel bad for my mother-in-law, but this is truly more of a burden than a blessing. Keeping these clothes would only clutter my closet. I thought about giving them to someone or selling them at a flea market. As I was contemplating this, my mother-in-law called again. "Oh, it's me. Did the clothes arrive? I carefully selected the best ones this time." My mother-in-law seemed overly cheerful, but I didn't want to receive regular shipments of these clothes, especially since they were old and not my style. "Claire, I appreciate your sentiment, but I don't usually wear such flashy clothes in my daily life." When I indirectly declined, my mother-in-law seems to take offense and instantly became angry. "Hold on, Sophia. What are you saying about the things I sent you? How can you say such things? You should be grateful." "No, so I appreciate the sentiment, but then just wear them without complaining." With all the clothes I've sent, it should save you money on buying new ones, right? Next time I come over, make sure you're wearing what I gave you, okay? After giving me a one-sided command, my mother-in-law hung up the phone. Sigh. I ended up angering my mother-in-law. What surprised me even more was that she was the type of person who would push her opinions onto others like that. That night, I mustered up the courage to talk to my husband. Oliver, can I talk to you for a moment?
Sure, but before that, did you say you received another gift from Mom?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Oliver still seems to think that I would be delighted with the gift. When I explained the situation to him, he was taken aback.
Vintage clothing?
Yes, vintage clothing, and one that I don't like at all. The clothes from your mother are really not something I can wear comfortably. When I tried to indirectly decline them on the phone, your mother got really upset. Can you say something to her about it? My husband was silent for a while. His own wife is in trouble because of a package his mother sent me. I am sure he will do his best to bring me and my mother-in-law together.
I will call my mom.
My husband went out onto the balcony and took out his smartphone. I hoped that he would be able to resolve things with my mother-in-law over the phone. However, after the call, my husband said something unexpected.
I heard from my mom that she sent those clothes to you out of goodwill. But despite that, you are acting like it's a bother. You should be more grateful.
My husband's words left me puzzled, to say the least. Wait a minute. Didn't I mention this earlier? These designs are just not something I'd wear seriously.
My mom said there are clothes she used to wear in the past. Are you mocking my mother's taste?
It's not like that. But some of those clothes have holes in them, you know. Are you telling me to wear these?
Enough. When I told my mom you didn't like them, she cried, okay? Please, don't make my parents sad anymore.
After shouting at me, my husband made a loud noise and locked himself in his room. Wait, what is that? Is it my fault? I can't believe my husband sided with my mother-in-law. He could have at least understood my feelings. I felt betrayed by my husband. In the end, the next month, I received another package from my mother-in-law. When I visited my in-laws' house, it became evident that I hadn't been wearing the clothes she sent. I went through the trouble of sending them. Why aren't you wearing them? My mother-in-law exploded in anger.
That's right. My mom went out of her way to send them.
My husband also supported my mother-in-law.
No one really cares about what you wear, and you don't pay that much attention. What's more important is not to waste my mom's kindness. Being an ungrateful daughter-in-law is the worst.
My husband seems determined to side with my mother-in-law. Receiving tasteless, outdated hand-me-downs with holes. Do you even understand how I feel? I felt everything had become utterly absurd. I had been trying so hard not to damage the relationship with my mother-in-law. I had explained everything to my husband in hopes of getting him to understand, but it all ended up being in vain. Despite my feelings, my husband started treating me even more like a daughter-in-law than before.
What's with this meal? Seems like you are taking shortcuts. You lack the awareness of being a wife. You are a homemaker, so you should do better. There were wrinkles on the laundry. Mom wouldn't make such a blunder. You should handle things more perfectly.
Are you acting like our nosy sister-in-law? That's how thin-skinned he seemed, especially when I buy new clothes.
After wasting Mom's kindness, are you planning to buy new clothes?
He yelled at me like that. Oh, It might be impossible to continue living with this person as a married couple. I was feeling so cornered that I even had thoughts like that. And then, one day, my husband's company trip was scheduled.
Make sure you prepare for the upcoming business trip starting tomorrow.
Lately, I've been treated almost like a housekeeper. Naturally, it irritated me. But upon close reflection, this might be a chance to get back at my husband. My mother-in-law keeps sending me tasteless, worn-out clothes as usual. From men's clothing to children's items, and even incomprehensive stuff. Lately, she has been sending dirty clothes that make me wonder where she is finding them. I dug out a set of men's clothing from that pile and packed it into my husband's travel bag. Hehe, that should do it. My husband's business trip was for 2 nights and 3 days. I packed all the tattered clothes my mother-in-law had sent me for that duration. The next day, as soon as my husband left for the trip, I packed my belongings and prepared to leave. As I walked out of the house, I left a pre-filled divorce agreement on the table. Meanwhile, during his business trip, my husband was becoming the subject of laughter among his colleagues.
Hey, what's with those shabby clothes? Did you pick these clothes up somewhere? Did you have a fight with your wife or something?
That serves him right. I can imagine my husband's feeling flustered. That evening, sure enough, my husband called me.
Hey, what the heck is going on with the contents of this suitcase?
Even over the phone, my husband's anger was palpable. I struggled to hold back my laughter and asked him, "Is there something wrong with the suitcase contents?"
Something wrong? No way! What's with all these old polo shirts? You must be crazy to let your husband carry these clothes.
Are you crazy? I calmly retorted. Oliver, haven't I told you before? These clothes were sent by your mother as a gesture of goodwill. Wasting that goodwill, isn't that a bit questionable as a son? I guess my husband didn't think that the clothes that were stuffed in his suitcase were from his mother. My remark left him momentarily speechless. Hey, are you listening? Those clothes, your mother sent them. After all the scolding she gave me when she was here, you're going to wear them without complaining, right?
Well...
My husband was clearly shaken. I told him firmly, "Have you understood now? Can you at least try to understand my feelings a bit? I left the divorce agreement at home."
Divorce?
"So it's up to you now." I hung up without further explanation. I ignored my husband's persistent calls and emails. Afterward, I went back to my parents' home. A few days later, I received a call from my mother-in-law. "Hold on! I won't allow you to just divorce like that. If you don't listen, I will hire a lawyer and demand compensation." In response to that, "Feel free to do so," I said. 1 week later, my mother-in-law said, "We'll arrange a meeting with a lawyer, so come." Upon my mother-in-law's words, I headed to the designated cafe. There, my mother-in-law, husband, and a person who appeared to be a lawyer were waiting. "What's going on?" "I've already decided on a divorce, and there's nothing more to discuss now." I said this firmly, and my mother-in-law had an expression on her face as if she were about to pounce. "Don't joke around. After all we have done for you, you want to divorce on your own? I won't allow it."
That's right.
My husband joined in, echoing my mother-in-law's sentiments.
I've had guys at work make fun of my clothes because of you. So now I'm the laughingstock at the office because of you.
Laughingstock? Isn't that indirectly mocking your own mother's taste? I'm sure my mother-in-law lifted both eyes when I gloated in front of them. "What's so funny here?" Such an insolent daughter-in-law. Continuing, my mother-in-law turned to the lawyer. Wait a minute, Mr. Lawyer. She can't file for divorce from her position, can she?
Well, I was told that his wife was the one harassing him.
The lawyer asked in a puzzled manner. I responded firmly. No, it's the opposite. Month after month, I've been receiving flashy clothes, and I've been subjected to harassment from my mother-in-law and husband. My statement seems to leave the lawyer bewildered.
This is completely different from what I've heard.
My mother-in-law also appeared flustered by this turn of events, and it seemed like my husband couldn't take it anymore as he stood up forcefully.
That's it! I'm divorcing a worthless wife like you. I'm going to charge you alimony, alright?
Oliver shouted angrily at me. His loud voice caused the customers around us to turn their attention toward us. Seizing the moment, I asked, So, wait, are you saying I have to pay alimony? Who are you talking to? Who? I'm talking to the person behind me. Huh? I explained to my bewildered mother-in-law. At that moment, the person who had been sitting behind me appeared in front of us, leaving my husband and mother-in-law stunned.
It's been a while, Mom, Oliver.
The one who appeared was my husband's brother Noah.
Noah, why are you here? Well, it's to represent Sophia in this case.
Yes, Noah, my husband's brother, happens to be a highly skilled divorce lawyer. Initially, he was hired by my mother-in-law to represent her interest, but it became apparent that I was not at fault, so he sided with me instead. Hold on, Noah. Why are you here? You turned down my request for legal representation earlier.
Of course.
Noah's voice grew louder.
In all likelihood, Sophia is not at fault, and I talked to her to get her side of the story. You were asking me to send money every month, claiming it was because you were struggling financially. But as it turns out, you were using that money to harass Sophia, weren't you?
Well, it's true I was having you send money every month. Of course it was for living expenses, but she was using the leftover money to purchase shabby clothes to send to me. It was all for the purpose of harassing me. Noah luckily investigated this and kept evidence as well, which he saved as proof.
And Oliver, you too. I've recorded all of the insults you directed at Sophia earlier.
Noah took out a voice recorder and played back the abusive language Oliver had used earlier. Of course, this is also sufficient evidence for the divorce.
Hey bro, are you kidding me? Why are you taking Sophia's side instead of us, your family?
In response to Oliver's outburst, his brother replied firmly,
I'm a lawyer. It's pretty clear to anyone that the fault lies with you guys. Your lawyer doesn't seem to have much of a chance either. Wouldn't it better to drop the legal battle?
Upon hearing Noah's words, my husband's attorney nodded and quietly left the place.
So, it's your responsibility to pay the settlement. I won't be sending any more money to you, Mom. Got it?
With those words, my brother-in-law left the place with me. Noah, thank you for your help, even though you're busy. When I bowed my head, Noah smiled.
No need to worry about it. I just dislike dishonesty, that's all. Family and relationships don't matter in that regard.
I'm so grateful this time. Thank you so much. Thanks to my brother-in-law, I was able to divorce safely. Of course, I received a proper settlement from my mother-in-law and husband. After the divorce, I've been living peaceful days without any contact from my mother-in-law or husband. Divorcing my husband meant parting ways with my kind brother-in-law, who had been so supportive. It was a bit sad, But I quickly shifted my focus and decided to live my own life moving forward. I'm going to have the best life that my ex-husband and mother-in-law could envy. With that in my heart, I started a new life.